Hello again and welcome to another Mordian Mondays. This is episode 33. Feels good to be doing another Mordian Mondays. I know I missed it last week, guys, but instead I did put up the preview battle report. For those of you who haven't seen that, I highly recommend you go and check it out. It's a battle report where I've done a preview of the new Tau stuff versus the new Imperial Guard stuff, and yeah, it's doing very well. I have to say that surprised how popular that video did. It's almost on sort of 8K views now. It's probably one of my highest watched videos ever. So thank you to everyone who watched the video. Thank you to everyone who liked it, who gave lots and lots of feedback. The feedback was overwhelmingly positive, so that was really nice to see. And yeah, I mean, I will also hold my hands up though and say apologies, guys. I didn't get quite as much content out last week. I think it was just a couple of videos, but that was mostly because I was focused on doing lots and lots of reading and research, because I was trying to get us up to speed on the Imperial Guard stuff as possible, so I could do lots of practice and test games, which I can then use to incorporate into my use that experience to incorporate it into my videos. So I'm not just theory crafting. I'm not just theory crafting tactics and results. I am actually using battlefield experience, which is what I always try and do with my videos. Anyway, I try and avoid theory crafting where possible. I did do a video on the new regiment traits for the from Psychic Awakening. That was, there was one big mistake in there, guys. So I will acknowledge that now. I misread the spotter details trait. I assumed it could apply to all heavy weapons. It can't apply to heavy flamers. So yes, after about having 30 comments tell me it doesn't apply to heavy flamers, I get it, guys. It doesn't apply to heavy flamers, so it does limit its usefulness somewhat, but it's still a pretty good trait. It would have just been perfect if you could combine it with heavy flamers. That would have been amazing. Anyway, so what have I been working on? Well, hobby-wise, again, this is what Mordian Mondays is all about. We like to talk some hobbies. So I have been diligently plugging away at my massive full unit of Bulgrins, and I got another 2 done in 2 weeks. I had to say, guys, I had to say I found some of my Ogrins as well. It takes a long time to paint these guys, and a big part of that is actually the slab shields. It actually takes me almost as much time to paint one of the slab shields as it does for me to paint one of the Ogrins, which I know sounds crazy, but the slab shields are actually massive, and if you look at them, they are probably about the same surface area roughly as a guardsman. So when you think about it, you're not only painting a Bulgrin, but you're also painting basically a guardsman equivalent worth of model on top of that already. So that's why these guys, I feel like, are taking me a lot longer than my Ogrins. It's also partly because, like I said, I wasn't doing a lot of hobbying last week. It was, over the last couple of weeks, it's mostly been just absorbing and eating as much information as possible regarding the new guard stuff that's been coming out. I will go over, obviously, in quite a lot of detail, all the new guard stuff from Psychic Awakening and the new Gene Stealer cult stuff as well. I know there's a few cultists in the ranks. Don't worry, I will be covering the Gene Stealer cult stuff. I know some people are pretty down on what the cult have got, but I think there's actually some hidden combos in there, and I think it is actually more powerful than people first realise. I know one of my sort of go-to people on the sort of on the competitive side of things, he has said that Gene Stealer Cult are a bit of a sleeper, and there are actually some crazy combos you can pull off with those new traits. So I don't know what it is yet, but hopefully we'll be able to get that get that knowledge in time for doing some videos. So, but before we go back to tactics and stuff, talking about what we've been painting. So, got another couple of Bulgrins done, a couple of slab shield guys. This puts the total number of Bulgrins completed now at 6, which would be enough for a typical size squad, but we are pushing for the burn now, and we want to have the full squad of 9. So currently I've got 5 slab shield guys and one of the Bulgrin, I don't really call it, like power shields, one of the power shields. The end squad will be armed with 3 power shields and 6 slab shields. And the reason for that is, guys, is I tend to like to have the power shields on boneheads. Now, obviously, if I'm running it with one big squad, then I'll only have the one bonehead. But I've modelled the squad in such a way that if I want to break it down into 3 smaller squads, I can do. So that's why I've got the 3 power shields and the 6 slab shields. So if I wanted to break it down to 3 individual units of 3 for some tactical flexibility, I don't know what's going to happen in future editions. I don't know if that would be a good thing or a bad thing. But what I do know is that having a mix is good. Now I have kept all the parts, so if I want to swap the shields out, I can do so. If overnight for some reason power shields just became totally OP, then I have enough, enough spare bits to bring some more power shields in there. I think one of the slab shields is glued in, and one of the brute shields, power shields, is glued in, but the rest of them aren't. So that does give me that flexibility. I have, however, given them all Bulgrin mauls. Give them all power mauls. The reason for that is, guys, is these guys. I can't see a time realistically when Grenadier gauntlets are going to be the better choice. Even if they made them like a flat 6 shots, and they made them auto hitting, and they made them like, strength 4, AP -1. Even then, even if they gave them 12-inch range, even then, I'm not sure I would pick Bulgrin. I'm not sure I would pick the Grenadier gauntlets over the mauls. This is a combat unit. It's designed to be in combat. So I have committed, and I've given them all, and I've glued them in the big power mauls. That's just the way I like them. That's the way I think they should be run. Now, in terms of painting on these two, I mixed things up a little bit. The main change was the power mauls. I didn't go quite as over the top with the Soulstone technical paint. And as a result, I think they came out a little bit better. They look more like, you can see the metal underneath a lot more, which makes them look like a big slab of metal with a bit of a power charge going through it, rather than the other ones, which the mauls themselves looked a little too blue. Pardon me. They did look a little. Sometimes they look a bit like glass. I get that. I think these ones look a bit better now. So on the home stretch with the Bulgrins, I'm hoping to still keep to my deadline of having the Bulgrins and the veteran squad completed by the end of February. So it's the 17th of February day. I'm really going to push for the burn, and I'm going to try and get 3 Bulgrins painted in 1 week. Now, I know what you're saying. I know what you're thinking, guys. I know what you're thinking. You're like, dude, you're taking 2 weeks to paint 2. And before then, you were painting like 2 a week. So how the hell do you think you're going to get 3 done in a week? How are you going to up your game? Well, let me tell you, Sonny Jim, out of the next 3 Bulgrins, 2 of them have got the small shields, number 1. And the small shields are really, really, really quick to paint. And secondly, prior to this, my Bulgrins were pretty much they were already sort of glued together apart from the shield, so it's a lot more awkward to like paint around the arms and get the paint in the cracks. Because what you end up doing is if you glue the arms in, what then happens is you've got to obviously try and paint in the socket, where the arm meets the armour, meets the slab armour, and what you inevitably end up doing is when you paint the green, you get a load of green over the arm, so you correct. But then when you paint the arm, you get a lot of skin colour on the green, so you end up having to correct half the green that you've done all over again. And you've got to be careful that when you correct it, you don't get the paint back on the arm again. So that's why it takes a long time. Whereas with the next 3, the only bits that I have glued together is the legs, the body, and the head. So the arm with the Bullgrin Maul, that's free floating at the moment, makes it much easier to paint. And the arm, which you slot the shield into, that's free floating. And the little shields themselves are free floating as well, which means I will spend a lot less time mucking about trying to correct things, correct paint overspill essentially. So we'll see how it goes. I have gone for on the last 3, what I've done is I've built one with the Nork Dead Dog armor, which looks a little different. His armor's a bit fancier. I have built him because what I want to do is when I'm using the big squad of 9, I want the Nork stand-in to be the overall bonehead, because there will be 2 other models that will look like boneheads. Because what I've done is the non-boneheads with the slab shields, they've all just got the gas masks on, fine. But the bonehead guys, I've got one of them with the beard, I've got Nork, and I've got one of them with the goatee and the bionic eye. So, but Nork's armor will look fancier, so he will be the overall bonehead when all 9 of them are in one squad. So there we go, guys. That should look quite nice. Just a side note, if anyone is thinking of building Nork, I'm using Nork with the Nork body and head, but with the irregular Bullgrin melee arm and shield. Side note, just for anyone else who's thinking of doing the same thing, the Bullgrin arms with the maul and the shield arm don't fit very well into Nork's body armor. Okay, they'll fit, but there will be some sort of basically disconnect between. They don't fit snugly. They don't fit snugly. I'm not gonna lie. So I may have to do some green stuff. I may have to leave it in a squad of 9. You probably won't notice, but it's just something to be aware of. His armor is designed to work with his gun holding arm and his big knife holding arm. It's not designed to work with the regular Bullgrin stuff. I don't know if that was an intentional design decision by Games Workshop to be like, look, Nork is meant to be Nork. He's not meant to have Bullgrin Maul and Bullgrin Shield. Fine, whatever. But I'm going to build him like that because he looks cool as a bonehead. And it's just to let you guys know that that is the case. So if you build your own, next week you'll hopefully see this. And I'll probably cover it again then next week. But if you build your own, it's something to be aware of. Don't think, oh crap, I built it wrong, the arms don't fit properly. No, it's not you, it's the kit. So that is it for Hobbying Front. Fairly light week, to be honest. It's going to be a busy week next week. Just general chit-chat then. Pardon me. General chit-chat. So I have... not general chit-chat. Tactics chit-chat. Tactics. So I have played a number of games now with the new... I've played 3 games with the new Psychic Awakening rules over the last 2 weeks. 2 of them, I was the guard. 1 of them, I was playing against the guard. So, obviously the first one, you guys saw it. It was the battle report. We're still learning a lot of stuff there. Lessons learned from that battle, honestly, is I need to get the most out of my preferred traits. Now, my preferred traits from that book is Wilderness Survivors and Discipline Shooters. I think a lot of people have cottoned on to Discipline Shooters being really good. I think a lot of people don't like Wilderness Survivors because there's Imperial Fists around. But, you know, Imperial Fists are not going to be every army you ever face. And even then, they're not the most common Marine army you're going to face. The 2 most common Marine armies you're going to face that are emerging is Raven Guard and Iron Hands, both of which Wilderness Survivors should help you against to some degree. I mean, still, it's Iron Hands, so whatever. But should help you go down swinging. Pardon me. Now, lessons that I learned from that battle is really need to get the most out of my trait. And so as a result, I never thought I'd have to do this, but I went down to Games Workshop and I bought 2 boxes of basic guardsmen that weekend. After that battle, I went down and did that. Simply because, guys, I needed 20 guardsmen, and I needed to convert them up into a mixture of bolter guys and plasma guys. So I now have the capability, after a feverish weekend of converting and building, I now have 18 bolter sergeants that I can use. And I will go, when I get those painted up, I will show you guys the parts that I use. It's mostly Space Marine Scout bolters, to be honest. I had and still do have, a unholy amount of Space Marine Scout bolters left over for when I built my Black Templars. Because I bought 40 Scouts to use as neophytes, and only 10 of those Scouts got bolters, and the other 30 got bolt pistol and combat knife, and that's just the bolters I had left over from the Scouts. I then had loads of bolters left over from the 60 Marines that I built, because out of those 60 Marines, only 20 of them got, 20 of them ish got bolters, and all the other ones got bolt pistol and chainsword. So I have just so many bolters lying around. And so as a result, I was able to build loads and loads and loads and loads of bolter guys. And I have to say, guys, Imperial Guardsmen with bolters looks sweet. It looks so cool. I'm really looking forward to getting them built and painted up. I made every single sergeant unique as well. I put the effort in to make every single sergeant looking unique. They've all got totally different loadouts. They've got the same bolter. Some of them have got bolters with like the strap with slings. Some of them haven't. So, you know, I've gone all out on the sergeants. And then I also converted up as many spare plasma guys as I could. I already had 9 plasma guys. And I was able to build 6 more from the bits I had. Because I already had some bolter sergeants. So I was able to get sort of 14 bolter sergeants from the box. Add it to the 4 I already sort of had. And then with the remaining 6 guys left over, I built 6 plasma gun guys, and that means I already had 9, and then I had 6, and that gives me 15. And then from my old school stormtroopers, I've got a bunch of old plasma that I can plasma guns I can use from that, which fits in very nicely with the regular Mordian squads. So the end result is, guys, that I have well above and beyond the plasma I need and the bolter that I need, and what I can now run effectively is 18 infantry squads. I haven't got this all painted up, I will say, but I have the models built. 18 infantry squads with bolter on the sergeant, plasma gun, special weapon, 8 las guns. That, my friends, is a lot. I say again, a hell of a lot of rapid fire goodness. Disciplined shooters, here we come, guys. Now, the only question I have to ask myself now is, do I give those squads heavy weapons? And I think the answer is yes. Because you still, when you buy a heavy weapon, one of your guys still gets to keep a las gun, right? So you're only losing 1 rapid fire gun. And if I'm going pure infantry, I'm still going to need heavy firepower to bring down some of the big targets. The question is, though, big question is, which heavy weapon do I go for? Because, I mean, I could go for las cannons. Now they're only 15 points a pop. That's strength 9 goodness. But I do also feel like strength 8 spam is where it's at. And missile launchers are only 10 points a dude now. And that I'm only 10. So that makes that's a lot of crack missiles. That's 18 crack rockets, at least 18 crack rockets. So it's a difficult one. Not gonna lie, but because I'm also thinking about, well, I will be on the move a fair bit to get the most out of my las guns, but not as much. To be fair, no, I think including heavy weapons is a good choice, because Pardon me. I think including heavy weapons is a good choice because I've got the 18-inch rapid fire, so I don't need to spend as many turns moving into rapid fire range. I'm pretty much always in rapid fire range after turn 1 or 2. So I think taking heavy weapons is a good choice. I am torn, however, between the missile launcher or the heavy bolter. And the reason for that is the heavy bolter is like, it's a strength 5 gun. And strength 5 is the sweet spot in 8th edition. You wound everything at worst on 5s, and at best you wound everything on 3s. You know, you never wound anything worse than 5s, and you rarely wound anything better than 3s. It's always just solid in the middle. So you can shoot that thing at a night, plink some wounds off. However, it's not... However, you sometimes do need that crack rocket. You know, sometimes you just need to just slam a crack rocket through the front armor of a Predator or a Rhino or something similar. But then on the other side, you know, more shots. Even if I took 18 cracked rockets and I shot them all in one turn at the same target, it's only 9 hits. So it's not a huge amount. I'm trying to go do some quick math on here. 9 hits. If I'm shooting at a Predator, for example, or a toughness 7 vehicle, for example, or something that I wound on 3s, 6 wounds. Now that Predator might be in cover. That might be a Centurion I'm shooting at. So I think, although I should have Astropath, so they should save 2 of them. That means 4 goes through. That's 4d6 damage. That's an average of 3.5. So that's an average of 4 per d6. So an average of 14 damage from 18 missile launches. That's not too bad. To be fair, that's not too bad. However, what if I should have the heavy bolters? So that's 3 times 18, which should be 54. Okay. Now that's 54 shots. Now half of those are going to hit, so that's 27. Now if I'm wounding again, similar target, if I'm wounding a vehicle, of those 27, only a third will wound, which is only 9, and then they'll save half, which, even if we're being generous, it's only 5. It's only 5 wounds against vehicles. And if I shoot against Centurions, even then, that's half. That's rather than the third, that's half that go through. Half that wound, I mean. So, 27, what you're looking at roughly 14 being generous. Centurions will save most of those, so if you're lucky you'll get 5 wounds through. So looking at it that way, I think the natural conclusion then is actually missile launchers. Missile launchers can do 14 damage. Now if you as I said, there's 80 missile launchers again. If you shoot 80 missile launchers at a squad of Centurions, okay, you get 9 hits, you get 6 wounds, they'll stop half. So that's 3 go through. Now you have the potential to snipe a Centurion with each one of those attacks. But even so, you might only kill 2 Centurions. Okay, so you kill 2 Centurions. The heavy bolter can't achieve the same thing. I don't think it can anyway. You know, like we said, 54 shots, 27 hits, half wound. So 14 wounds, 5 wounds, get through. In total, you kill you 45 wounds. So I think the missile launchers are better against the Centurions, and they're better against the vehicle. So for me, doing the math hammer there, this is what I suspected already. For me, doing the math hammer there, the natural conclusion is I think the missile launchers are better. So for those of you who are wondering, which, with the new missile launchers dropping points, which one should I go for, heavy bolters or missile launchers? I think you're good to go missile launchers every single time. I think if we look at missile launchers versus pure horde, and heavy bolters as pure horde. That could get interesting. So if you shoot frag rockets, you're looking at 3.5 shots per frag rocket, which is 0.5 more than 0.5 more than the heavy bolters. So I'm not. So you look at 63 shots, 63 frag shots. Now about half of those will hit. So about 31 will hit, 31.5, but we'll round it for simplicity because you can't get 0.5 of a hit. So 30 will be biased against ourselves. You should always do that when you're trying to calculate things to give you, rather than inflate your expectations. So 31 hits. Now if you then go against orcs, a toughness 5, a toughness 4, 6-up save model, which should be the same as a toughness 3, 5-up save model. So if you go against orcs, for example, of your 31 hits, half will wound, so that's 15. And the orcs could stop up to 3, if they were lucky, 2 to 3. So you're looking at, I would say, 12 dead orcs. 31 hit, yeah, 31. 63 shots, 31 hits, 15 wounds. The orcs get lucky, get an extra 1 that they should do. You're looking at 12 dead orcs. Okay, heavy bolters, again, they have their 54 shots. Just want to make sure I've not been a total idiot. It definitely is 54 shots. Yep, 54 shots. Half of those hit. We've established that's 27. Now, 27 hits, but then you're wounding on 3s. Which means you get 18 wounds, and the orcs don't get a save. So, that means that 18 orcs die. So, the heavy bolter is better against its intended target, which is light infantry. However, the missile launcher is better against heavy infantry, super heavy infantry. I like to class Centurions as super heavy infantry, and nearly all vehicles. Well, and at least medium armour. At least medium armour. Now, it'd be interesting to see how the heavy bolter compare. The heavy bolter will do 5 wounds against a knight, and it'll do 5 wounds against a predator. It will do 5 wounds against either. Missile launcher. So the missile launcher is good against medium infantry, medium vehicles, super heavy infantry, and heavy infantry. The heavy bolter is much better against light infantry, but is it better against super heavy vehicles like knights? Because the heavy bolter will do the same damage, like I said, so 5 wounds against knights. What will the missile launcher do? So you get your 18 shots, you get your 9 hits, then you only wound on 4s. You wound on 4s. So even for generously, you get 5 wounds. I think you probably get 4 wounds. No, my luck, anyway. 4 wounds. And then the knight will rotate iron shields naturally against all those rockets. So if only 2 go through, that's still 3.5 per wound, so that's an average of 7. So you're going to get between 18 missile launchers can still get more wounds against the knight. So the end result is, and I hope my math hammer was correct there, guys. If anyone else is out there who's better math hammer than me, please let me know. Obviously these are sort of napkin math hammer. I appreciate that. I have done some rounding on either side, but I've always rounded against me to try and give me sort of more realistic expectations. So I think the end result is the missile launcher is better against every single kind of target than the heavy bolter, except light infantry, which guardsman equivalent infantry, which is the heavy bolter. Heavy bolter's sort of niche. It's its main territory. It's what it's mainly designed to fight. So that's interesting, guys. Now, why am I talking about all this math hammer and everything? Why am I talking about this? Because obviously with the new traits, I'm looking at my pure infantry army in a new light. And I'm thinking my Mordians are now going to be disciplined shooters. And I think I'm going to be rocking 18 infantry squads. And every single one of those infantry squads is going to have a plasma gun, a bolter, and a missile launcher now. I think that's what I want. Now, I've been doing the I've been doing the maths on this. And if I wanted to run a shooty foot horde of guardsmen, the best way to do it would be to take actually a really well equipped force of guardsmen, not just loads and loads of bodies with no backup, but actually like a properly stocked regiment of infantry. So what I've been looking at is taking 3 battalions, essentially running each battalion as a separate platoon, and giving each one a third of my deployment zone. And each battalion / platoon is going to have the 6 infantry squads as described, with the bolter, plasma gun, and missile launcher. And then I'm also going to take a squad of veterans. Now the veterans are going to have bolter on the sergeant, take advantage of that. Then I'm going to take grenade launchers and autocannons, or missile launchers on them again. Reason being, guys, I know that the veterans could take advantage of the plasma, and they could get really good. They could get 18 inch rapid plasma, but I don't want the veterans to be like just swept off the board instantly. And I found with foot veterans the best way is to keep them low priority, so they can slam crack grenades into things every single turn. It's very effective. Not on a single shooting phase. I understand that a single shooting phase of grenade launcher veterans versus plasma veterans, the plasma veterans will win. I get that. But if you put plasma and las cannons in your veteran squads, they are targeted turn 1, and that is it. They are gone. If you give them the grenade launchers and the autocannons, then or missile launchers, what you tend to find is the enemy looks at your regular infantry and goes, oh, they're all running around with like melter guns and stuff. I need to deal with them. They've only got grenade launchers. I'm not as worried about them. And so the veterans are left alone for the majority of the game, plus firing loads of crack grenades and stuff at the enemy. So I have my 6 infantry squads, my foot veterans. I have a command squad with a mortar, and then a heavy weapons squad with a mortar. The reason for that is the command squad gives me a small footprint unit I can use to hold objectives whilst they can still contribute to the fight. It's very good in ITC to have that kind of squad for the engineers secondary. And then I have the triple mortar squad. Now I know mortars have fallen out of favour because of the high points increase, but the reason I like to take them is, again, it gives me some LOS blocking. There's some LOS ignoring. I take 3 of those platoons, and I take a Lord Commissar, a company commander, and a platoon commander, and an astropath in each one of those platoons as well. And what you're actually looking at there, guys, is 70 line infantry, plus you've got your 10 support infantry, the command squad and the heavy weapons squad, and then you've got the 4 characters, and you've got 84 infantry, and actually you've got 3 of those setups. You've got 252 infantry. Now the thing is, if you do that, guys, if I work the points out for that now, so that's 40 plus 7 plus 1 plus 10, 58 points per infantry squad, times that by 6. Add in the 70 points for the veteran squad, add in the 45 points for the mortar, add in the 33 points to the mortar command squad, and add in, then you've got your characters. So you've got 31 points for the officer with a bolter, 21 points for the junior officer with a bolter, 35 points for the Lord Commissar with a bolter and power sword, and then 15 points for the astropath. You take that and you times it. That's 1 platoon is 598 points. You times that by 3. You have got 1,794 points, which means you still have 206 points left to spend on other stuff. Now you could take some special weapon squads in there and increase the shooty capability even more. But my thinking was, guys, is whilst that is a very shooty army, it's very, very susceptible to combat armies. I don't really have anything that allows me to deal with combat armies, especially those which are able to wrap and trap. or those which are able to stop me from falling back. Because if that happens, I am in trouble. So what I need is the ability to counter-attack those armies. And so with my spare points, I can give every single regular infantry squad a power sword. It's the only power weapon I can get now, thanks to Legends, Curse You Games Workshop. That's only 72 points. And then I can give each platoon a priest for 35 points each, which is only 105 points, which means for 1,971 points, I have 255 infantry. Every single one of those is a regular infantryman. By that I mean they are not a conscript. Okay? They're not a conscript. Every single one of those guys, every single one of those squads is capable of taking on any threat. I have huge amounts of anti-infantry capability with my extended rapid fire, and the fact that I've got a bolter on the sergeant, and the fact that the missile launcher can go into frag mode if it needs to. Huge amount of anti-infantry capability. At the same time, every single squad has also got great anti-tank capability, because I can overcharge every single one of those plasmas if I need to. If I'm not facing a horde army, guys, then I can just use take aim instead of first rank, fast rank fire to get safely overcharged plasma and get some, more accurate crack rockets. So that means, guys, I've got great anti-tank capability, and if someone wants to try and play the close combat game with me, every single platoon's got a priest. Every single squad has got a power weapon. I still have points left over. I could definitely give every single one of my officers power swords as well. That's only another 24 points. I still have 5 points left over. And what that lets me do, guys, is if someone wants to play the close combat game with me, whilst my army isn't primarily designed for close combat, I can roll with that. I can rumble. So if someone comes in and wipes out, let's say like a squad of orcs that jumps and just plows into the first 20 guardsmen of a platoon. That's if I screen properly, that's what should happen. They plow into the first 20 guardsmen. What that means I can blast them to pieces. But what if they get more than one unit in, and the orcs just contact the whole front rank of guardsmen, 60 guys torn to pieces. I've got 90 orcs in my face. I probably can't shoot to death 90 orcs, but what I can do is I can blast all those mobs down to manageable chunks, and then I don't have to sit around and wait for them to come and finish me off. I can get in there. And every single one of those guardsmen has got 2 attacks, and every single one of those squads is rocking 3 power sword attacks as well. If I counter-attack a mob of boys with 30 of my guardsmen, if 30 boys come at 30 of my guys, I'm gonna, after they've churned through half a platoon, I'm gonna win that fight, because I'm gonna shoot them to death, and then I'm gonna charge them. I'm gonna finish them off. And if the orcs want to stay in combat, then I'm gonna fix bayonets and slaughter them in the next phase if they try and stay in combat with me, or I should kill them in their assault phase. It gives me options. Basically, what I have is a take all comers infantry horde there, guys. So that is the tactics that I've been formulating based upon the Psychic Awakening reveals. The one other thing I would say is that format that I've come up with, that format that I've come up with, yes, it's primarily designed on shooting, right? Of course, we're using designated. We're using the 18-inch rapid fire. The name slipped my mind for a second. We use 18-inch rapid fire, but I could just not take the 18-inch rapid fire, not take the Wilderness Survivors, and with the exact same list, I could slip in Lord's Approval and Slumfires, because whilst I then wouldn't be getting the most out of my rapid fire weapons, what that allows me to do, guys, is if I can still play the shooting game. Do you know why I can still play the shooting game? Because I'm Imperial Guard. Inherently, even a bad shooting Imperial Guard army will generally have better shooting than most other take all comer armies, because inherently we are geared towards shooting. But if I swap it out for the melee traits, what that lets me do is win the shooting game against most of the armies I'm going to face, and then also dominate in the combat game. Okay, but I think that the Wilderness Survival, I think what it's better is to absolutely dominate the shooting game and the durability game with Wilderness Survival and 18 Rapid Fire, and then just be able to hold your own in the combat phase with all the power weapons. That's what I think would be better. Let me know what you guys think down below. Obviously, we've discussed a lot of tactics today. We've done a lot of math hammer around the infantry squads. I'd be really interested to get your guys' perspective on that. What do you think would be better? I'm right now, I'm full on, you know, the rapid fire, always in cover trade. That's what I think is the best combo. But I'm always open to other opinions. And of course, guys, I know we've been on the tactics, down the tactics rabbit hole for almost like 30 minutes now out of the 40-minute video. But going back to hobby for a second, let me know what you guys have been working on. I always love hearing about what project you guys have been working on. I know that Mordian Mondays is normally typically more of a hobby video rather than a tactics video, but with the new Psychic Awakening stuff, it's hard not to get excited about this stuff, guys. It's hard not to get excited and go full on the tactics. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please leave lots of comments down in the comment section below. A lot of what I've talked about today will probably go into even more depth as we do the in-depth Psychic Awakening analysis throughout the rest of the week. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and of course, I'll see you guys next time.